Let's talk about how you managed to create such a large sum of money, which is by far the largest sum of money owned by an African. So tell us, do you come from a wealthy family or not? One of the things I am really very proud of is that I did not inherit money from my father. I really built everything I have from scratch. Hello, Team Mindset. I hope you are doing well. Today, we're going to talk about a man who started from scratch to build a real empire and become the richest man in Africa. If you don't know him, his name is Aliko Dangote, and he is at the head of Dangote Group, which is one of the most powerful conglomerates in the world. He is Nigerian of Hausa ethnicity, and he is at the head of a fortune of $9 billion, according to Forbes magazine. In 2020, he has an original and inspiring story for entrepreneurs who want to start. Because he will prove that with not much, you can create something huge. Some will say he had an advantage over others. He was born into a family of traders and started with a loan of 500,000 naira, about 1,100 euros, from his uncle. To launch his idea, he started from a simple observation. His rapidly growing country lacks cement, a material that Nigeria had to import to satisfy its demand. Thanks to this, he has a company that is growing extremely fast and that allows him to diversify afterwards. Aliko Dangote was chosen following the survey we conducted on the channel to know what was the next video you wanted to see. There were 3 entrepreneurs in the running: Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and Aliko Dangote. And so it was the latter who won by a very large majority. So I hope you will like the video. If you are discovering me through this video, my name is Almansur Diallo. I am an entrepreneur and founder of a private chauffeur company called Navico. On this channel, you will find motivation, inspiring entrepreneur interviews, and everything you need to take your business and mindset to another level. Let's get started with the secrets of Aliko Dangote's success. Let's talk about how you managed to create such a large sum of money, which is by far the largest sum of money owned by an African. So tell us, do you come from a wealthy family or not? I would say that I come from a wealthy family. My late great-grandfather was, the richest West African in the 40s. And my late grandfather was one of the wealthiest men in all of Nigeria. So, his last name was Dentata, and that comes from my mother's side. And so my father was, I would say, reasonably wealthy, but, he was on both sides, so business and also politics. One of the things I'm really very proud of is that I didn't inherit money from my father. I really built everything I have from scratch. Did your father pass away when you were relatively young? Yes, he died when I was 8 years old. But so he didn't leave a substantial amount of money for you in his will? He left money in his will, but everything I inherited in his will compared to everything he owned, I gave it to charity at that time. So did you go to university in Nigeria then? No, I went to university in Egypt. Okay, Egypt. And what did you study then? Business? Okay, so at what age did you get your degree? I got my degree around my 20s. So after returning to Nigeria from Egypt, what did you do? Did you search for a job? I first started working with my uncle for a few months, but after I went to Lagos, which is the capital of Nigeria, there I started my own business of buying and reselling cement. It was very simple. It was really a very small business. So you're 21 years old, you start buying cement, you're not making the cement yourself, you're trading. At that time, indeed, I was trading. Cement is your main business, and we will talk about it in a moment. But explain to us, why does cement have such a share in Africa's wealth? The problem when you look at cement is what allows you to build infrastructure. And we have a lot of infrastructure deficit, in Nigeria alone. We have a deficit of 17,000 homes. And when, as a result, we started with cement in Nigeria, we realized, in fact, that the majority of the cement we owned was imported from abroad. And that's why, as a result, we got into this business, and as a result, it's a very long story. How do I manage to cement my business ties with other African countries? That's right. So, we strengthen our business ties with other African countries by looking at what they need. And we also strive to ensure that we meet all their needs, and especially by ensuring that they are self-sufficient in relation to their needs. In cement, if you look more precisely, most African nations, particularly in the past, relied on imported cement. So what we did was to list all the sub-Saharan African countries where there was a big deficit of, cement. And we thought about how to integrate these markets and ensure that Africa uses its own materials while preserving foreign exchange reserves. And of course, to have the cheapest cement possible. What we also do is that we create jobs, we create prosperity, and this is a partnership where everyone wins. We'll profit while simultaneously helping the country we work with save money. And by creating jobs, we will create more economic activities within the country itself. So you develop the countries. And how did you manage to integrate these countries, which are mostly French-speaking countries, because the cultures are so different? Of course, these are all different countries that are predominantly dominated by the French. That's the first thing. And secondly, you are right. Of course, in some countries, it has been very difficult. I'm sure you have. For example, you must have read about events in Senegal created by a competitor. The competitor happened to be French, and we are English speakers. Despite ongoing challenges, we remain committed to investing and moving forward because we love challenges. And we have had them in all countries, not just in French-speaking countries. For example, in Tanzania, where we were in court for 3 years, but the Tanzanians were suspicious. That's right. Yes, you're correct. However, it's a project we've announced since 2007. But their perception, unfortunately, of the local Nigerians was really not good. What we are doing is Africa investing in Africa, and that is unfortunately not usual. So, no matter where we go, when we make project announcements, amounts that are often very high, for example, approaching $400 million or $600 million, they simply do not believe us capable of doing it. They simply think it's a classic Nigerian scam. They never fully believe us, but we are very, very tenacious. We know what we are actually doing. And we stand our ground on our policy and our way of thinking. Do you think you are changing the image? The bad image that some Africans may have in relation to Nigerians? Yes, I can say that we are changing this perception. See, it's a reception. And it's often said that perception goes beyond reality, and if you don't correct it very quickly. So yes, we actually had to do it. We are a major company on the African continent who invests only in Africa, but not in small ways. We invest massively in Africa. So this perception has somewhat changed, and I would even say has radically changed, because we have proven to them that everything we promise, we achieve. Even in countries where we had to go fight all the way to the Supreme Court, you have to do what you say. And we weren't in the newspapers once a day, but rather twice a day. But we successfully managed to calm the storm. And we know that the storm has not gone away permanently, but we will continue to fight. And that's what drives us. We are not lazy. And we have a strategy that is very, very aggressive, and we are not afraid to face any kind of challenge, especially when it comes to business. We will move on to the second question. Mr. Dangote, could you read it, please? Yes, of course. Let me see what it is about. The second question is as follows: is diversification the key to your success? From cement to pasta, for example. Yes, of course. It's the secret to the success of our business. You should know that there is no business where you will not face difficulties. But if you have different types of business, it will be very difficult for you to have problems everywhere at the same time. We are not just in cement, we are also in the food industry. So if the food industry is not doing well, the cement will do very well. But we are also in oil, in gas, we are also in fertilizers and in construction also. So there are several types of business in the group, which gives us the ability to be totally diversified. For example, in the field of cement, we are going to be present in 16 countries. And within a year and a half to 2 years, we will be at 65 million tons of cement. And we are already thinking about the next step, which will be the refinery. And by the time we finish its construction, most of our neighbors don't even count. Nigeria will be able to meet the demand. In terms of other products, whether it's petrochemicals, polypropylene, polyethylene, and we will have the largest petrochemical complex in the entire world. And that's what we are doing right now. So, I would like to ask you how you react to these African countries whose economies are dominated by relations with Western companies. The differences, we have between the countries that speak French and, let's say it, Nigeria. It's that we have taken control of our own destiny. We control the economy of our country. And I prefer to apologize to all the people this is going to annoy, but we control our economy, which is not the case for most French-speaking countries, where citizens do not have control over their economy. These economies are often controlled by foreigners who sometimes even dictate their terms and conditions. Governments, and even to all the world. And what we think at Dangote Group is that we are capable of transforming all of this by going into these different countries and investing. Because these are areas where, a decade ago, it would have been impossible to expect that a Nigerian would go into a country like Zambia or even Senegal, for example, and invest 400 million of type of investment that we are setting up. It's not about putting pressure on national financial institutions, because we don't borrow money locally. No, we bring our funding from Nigeria to 100% and we inject it into the country. So there is not a single penny or dollar that leaves this country. So it's a great opportunity that you're creating. So the authorities of these countries should welcome you with open arms. Yes, of course they do. They welcome us very well. For example, think of a country where we thought it would be very difficult for us to establish ourselves, like Cameroon. We said to ourselves, look at them. Relations between this country and Nigeria were very difficult before. But we weren't. On the contrary, in Cameroon, they gave us a welcome of gold. Honestly, we were very, very well received, and we were given all the honors by the president, who gave us a lot of help. Even though we had never met, we simply met much later in Washington. And the prime minister was really very kind, very present for us. He was straightforward and let us be ourselves. Realize of the opportunities that Cameroon represents. The Minister of Industry, the Minister of Commerce, the Minister of Finance, they all helped us. There really is nothing that we asked them for that was not granted. It has been great. They have truly been fantastic. But the best of all in terms of hospitality, it remains Ethiopia. Yes, Ethiopia has been really great. We are going to end this interview with a joker question. Are you proud of what you are doing now? We would like to know every morning when you wake up, what do you think of yourself or what you are accomplishing? Yes, I think our company, yes, of course, thanks to people who are exceptional at accomplishing great things. And we have really, really good people in the organization. But to answer your question when I wake up in the morning, how do I feel? Yes, I feel very happy. I feel happy, but not totally accomplished. Because, of course, we still have a lot of things to do. And above all, we must economically liberate Africa, and this must be done by us, the Africans. The only way for us to prosper is for Africans to take the lead in their economies. Let the foreigners see what we are doing. Then they will join us to be able to go further. Of course, we can't develop on our own. We need everyone. But we must at least lead. And when I see the future there, I become an even happier man. But of course, we haven't gotten there yet. Because when I look at the future and tell myself that nothing is impossible in this life, it's really a very pleasant feeling. When asked about my goal, I said I didn't have one. But nothing is impossible. And do you manage to take some breaks anyway? Yes, but during the period when we switched from trading to production, so it started in 1996. I had to go 13 years without taking a vacation. You know, it took me about 13 years without any vacation, but I learned from that. And now I try to take at least a break from time to time, at least once a year. And I also try to rest as much as possible during the weekend, as much as I can. Because I usually work on Saturdays as well, I try to relax and do what I love most. That's it. Thank you. So our viewers will know exactly what to do if they really want to succeed. Thank you. Tell them they must work 18 hours per day, at least initially. Yes, 18 hours a day. Yes, I hope you manage to work 18 hours a day. We all do it at Africa 24. Thank you very much for hosting us here and agreeing to answer these questions. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to hearing feedback from your viewers. Thanks for watching the whole video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it. What resonated with you the most about Aliko Dangote's secret to success? Share this video with someone right now who it can help and who needs to see it. Don't forget to accomplish something today that brings you closer to your goals and dreams. As you know, we move forward together.